Flywheel effects are a concept you need to understand if you want to build a big or a meaningful business, because big, meaningful businesses are built by design. And one of the elements that makes up the design of a successful business is understanding flywheel effects. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you how I'm using flywheel effects to build a £100 million property portfolio. A previous video I've done on this channel is kind of explaining my business plan over the next 5 years to build a £100 million portfolio, which I'll link in the description. But I want to start off by explaining what are flywheel effects, and then I'm going to share with you some real examples of how you can use flywheel effects in property to build a substantial property business. So what are flywheel effects? Well, the concept of a flywheel is about how creating momentum in your business where each success reinforces the next. Once in motion, the flywheel compounds growth and makes scaling easier. So one of my favorite examples is from one of my favorite entrepreneurs, Jeff Bezos, who built Amazon. And Amazon has a really incredible flywheel effect. So if we start here with selection, Amazon or Jeff Bezos knew that if we can increase the product selection, the range of products that are available on Amazon, well then that is going to create better customer experience, because customers are going to go onto Amazon, they're going to find the products they want to buy, they're going to find more variations of the different products, and therefore the result of that is these customers are going to come back to Amazon, they're going to tell their friends about Amazon, which means there's going to be more people going on the Amazon website. There's going to be greater traffic to Amazon. Now, if there's more traffic going on Amazon, well, that's going to attract more sellers, because if you have a product that you want to sell and you can see that Amazon has all these people going on their site buying similar products to yours, you're going to want to sell your product on Amazon. And so the more sellers that are then attracted results in a greater selection of products being available on Amazon. The more products are available on Amazon, the greater the customer experience, because customers find the products they want at more competitive prices, which creates more traffic, more sellers, and vice versa. And as you can see, or as you can begin to understand, each success on one of these variables reinforces the next one. There's also kind of a secondary flywheel effect at Amazon, where they know if they can get their cost structure down, that creates lower prices, which ultimately feeds a customer experience variable as well. But ultimately, with a flywheel effect in business, you want to understand what are the variables, what are the parts that make up the flywheel, and how do we keep optimizing and improving that? Because the more we improve that, the more that will affect the next variable. And then Jeff Bezos very famously said, I believe in one of his books, or the book, I forget the name of the book that he did about Amazon, The Everything Store. I believe it's in The Everything Store. If you invent a breakthrough in flow, the flywheel effect turns and turns. Each small win makes the next easier, and the momentum compounds. And ultimately, flywheel effects lead to compound growth, exponential growth, which is why if you look at Amazon's share price, which also directly reflects Jeff Bezos's net worth, it is exponential growth. It's the same for Warren Buffett's net worth over time. You look at Elon Musk's net worth over time, they're exponential, they're non-linear because of these flywheel effects that create exponential growth. And so Warren Buffett as well, rest in peace, famously said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. And so I'm a big believer that if someone more successful than me that's been doing something a longer time than me says something, I should probably not ignore it. Warren Buffett being who he is, well, I should probably listen to his advice and understand compound growth. So how does this apply to property? How does this apply to a property business? Well, there's a number of different ways you can create flywheel effects in a property business. First of all, it's access to capital. So let's say you acquire your first project. You've done your first deal. And you guys know, if you follow my channel, I'm a huge proponent of using social media, content creation, personal branding to grow your business. And when you acquire your first project, you can then document your journey with this project online via social media, which does what? Well, it builds more trust with more investors. Now, there might be a round of private investors It could be one individual, two individuals, or a handful of private investors that maybe weren't confident enough, didn't have the level of trust required to invest in your first project. But now if they're connected with you on social media, they follow you on social media, they are then going to see you documenting the journey transparently, documenting the wins, the mistakes that you made, but ultimately that's going to build trust. So more trust, more investors means you're then going to get better access to capital, because the next project you're going to do, when you go and raise the capital for that, is going to be a little bit easier than raising the finance for the first deal, because the investors have more trust in you. You've got greater credibility, which means when you have better access to capital, you can do more / bigger deals. And then of course, that then means you can document those more deals on social media. You're getting better at content creation. That builds more trust for investors, better access to capital to more bigger deals. So you can see the flywheel that happens there. This also happens with deal flow, so access to deals. When you are active in the market and you do maybe your first project, all of these agents that you've gone and viewed other potential opportunities with, they now see that you're active in the market. You're actually performing on the offers that you've made, and you are a hot buyer, which language that estate agents use to describe buyers that are actually actively buying. And so you're going to be more top of mind with these agents, because maybe they're seeing what you're doing on social media in the local area as well with your project, which means they're going to think of you more and send you more deals, and they're going to send you better deals earlier on. And the better deals you attract, the more capital you attract, which ultimately means you're going to do more / better deals. And then also there's the time equation. Your portfolio goes up in value, so you retain assets over time. Eventually, not every year, but most years, property prices go up in value, rents increase. And so therefore, every 3 years, every 5 years, when your existing mortgage allows it, you can refinance and reinvest those distributions. You can reinvest rental distributions from the net cash flow that it's producing every single month, quarter, and year. And therefore, you can reinvest that into your portfolio to make it more valuable. And then that more valuable portfolio will also go up in value over time, which you can then refinance, reinvest, etc. Again, expand your time horizon over 10 years, 20 years, you'll begin to see how actually compound growth is going to kick in. You've just got to get to that inflection point. You've got to get to that inflection point where actually the magic happens. And then with media, so the more you document your journey, you get better access to capital and deal flow like we discussed. You do more / bigger deals. And then actually more people want to follow your journey. The more success you have, the more people are going to be interested in following you. And so the audience is actually going to grow. So this adds like another layer of compound growth to your journey, which results in better access to capital and better deal flow. So this is ultimately why you need to think long-term with your property business, but also you need to apply these compound effects, these flywheel effects, which predominantly is use social media as a tool, use personal branding as a tool to achieve trust and showcase and document your credibility, your journey at scale, and then leverage that to attract more deal flow, more capital, and then apply that with time, where over time, what I haven't mentioned is actually over time, the value of the existing mortgages on your property also goes down in value, not because you're paying it down. Actually, with interest-only mortgages, you're just servicing and paying the interest every single year. But with inflation, a pound or a £50,000, £100,000 mortgage 5-10 years from now is actually going to be worth less than a £50,000 or £100,000 mortgage now because of inflation. Because £1 today is not going to be worth what £1 is worth in the future. So combine that with then also property prices going up, with rents going up that you can then reinvest, compound growth. So this is why you need to think long term. Think in terms of years and decades, not weeks and months. See you guys in the next video.